These opinions may or may not be unpopular, so I have labeled them as hot takes. I've had them simmering for months, not releasing them because I was afraid of backlash, but I'm over that now. I don't like disclaimers, so just know that all the standard stuff applies and I would prefer for you to be mature and courteous in the comments. Comment whether you think these are popular or not, and if you agree or disagree. Now let's get into it. K-pop haters are not xenophobic or racist because they dislike K-pop. Europas are people too, which means that they can do bad things too, and it has nothing to do with their race. A lot of international fans take K-pop as a great representation of all Asian people, which is ridiculous, because most Asian people are not hot or talented whatsoever, they are just normal, and I get to say this because I am one. The perception of immature fans that their idols are perfect leads them to believe that the only reason why someone would dislike their faves is because that person is xenophobic and racist, and therefore is inherently wrong about everything, including the disliking of the faves. A lot of things about the K-pop industry suck, and that has nothing to do with the race of the idols. If someone doesn't like that the trainee system exploits young children, or that the idols lack creative control over their music, or they just don't like pop music in general, that doesn't make them racist. For goodness sake, don't get mad at people who dislike K-pop. I would also like to add that it is not xenophobic to not want to listen to music you can't understand, either. K-pop fans call those who dislike people singing in Korean closed-minded, but for a lot of people, relatability and understanding of lyrics is deeply important to building a connection with the artists they listen to. Don't go on about how your faves deserve praise for having deep lyrics and then get mad when someone says that not getting the lyrics is why they won't listen. Having to look up the lyrics in the first place is already a barrier. I'm not lazy if I don't want to bother to look up lyrics. Allow me to enjoy music my way. Thank you very much. Personally, I quite enjoy that I can't understand half the lyrics. It turns the music into just a mindless chant, and that's the way I like it. It's really not as deep as you make it out to be. Giving a special name to toxic members of a fandom is stupid. The main example that comes to mind is how toxic blinks are called blonks, though I do know that this is a thing in other fandoms as well. All you do by giving those people a name is legitimizing them. Every fandom has toxic fans, and most people act like there is some sort of great divide between themselves and those toxic fans when really, it's all a spectrum and you have quite a lot in common with them. You try to say that true fans don't claim those toxic fans, but regardless of whatever you think about those toxic fans, they are still supporting the group, and that does make them fans whether you like it or not. You're not in control of who should and shouldn't be supporting your faves. Stop trying to pretend like those toxic fans are some separate entity. Come to think of it, trying to exert this control over who qualifies to be a fan makes you a toxic fan, now doesn't it? Oh, how the tables turn. Look, I'm not saying that toxic fans don't exist, but don't you think there would be less of them if you just ignored them instead of making it into some kind of war against them? Everyone is an angel until they get confronted over stuff they did in the past. Those who say they are true fans have themselves skeletons in their proverbial closet. I'm sure that even I do, if you look around enough. Anyways, my point is that you shouldn't legitimize toxic fans by giving them a name, especially when you have more in common with them than you think. SuperM is a ridiculous joke. While it is possible for companies to encourage international fandom growth through doing certain concepts, for example, they can't force it, at least for me. All of SuperM's efforts to make me stan them come off as exactly that. They are trying to make me stan them. Their existence just proves how out of touch SM is with their actual fanbase, and the only reason they are having any success is because the group members are already famous. If some new good group debuted with this concept and type of song, no one would pay attention to them. In fact, they might even get backlash for copying NCT or something like that. They are interesting to observe because one always wonders how much K-pop companies can get away with pushing down the throats of fans. Well, here's the answer. An entire freaking group. No one asked for this, no one wanted it, just some old dudes at SM were like sounds like cash to me and went with it. Whatever test audience they got for this has to have been insane. Or themselves out of touch with the fanbase, because I don't know how else SM could have thought this was a good idea. And because of that, at least to me, it feels like they lack the authenticity of men in other groups. Why would I stan a group that I feel like some old guy is trying to make me stan? Yes, every company wants you to stan their groups, but at least they try to hide it. As an American K-pop fan, SuperM follows me around everywhere I go. They're at Target, they're on billboards, and not the chart kind, and most annoyingly, ads for them are all over my social media. I know it sounds like I'm annoyed about SuperM doing what every K-pop group does, but to me, SuperM feels forced in a way that is unique, and not in a good way. K-pop stands like K-pop because of the authenticity in idols, because of the connection they have, and SuperM feels like SM spitting in our faces, saying that K-pop fans will blindly follow their idols anywhere. Thanks for the cash, losers, and if you're into that, good for you, but I'm not and will never be. Disliking a comeback has nothing to do with the hard work of the idols. Every time I say something negative about anything in K-pop, I invariably get comments saying that I am being rude because the idols worked so hard on that comeback, and therefore I am a hater and I wish that the idols will go in their company dungeon. In fact, I bet someone will comment that about SuperM, after everything I just said about them. This outlook is very annoying because in my opinion, it is the idol's job to put out these comebacks, and when people dislike the comeback, it is also the idol's job to deal with that graciously. Everything about the industry is subjective, and no idol expects everyone to like everything they put out, because that's called having common sense. Did the idols work hard on that comeback? Yes, of course, but the amount of work someone puts into something is not proportional to how good it is. If working hard on something meant that it was immune to criticism, then no one would be able to say anything negative about K-pop ever. It's also funny how you apply this logic when it comes to your faves, but then turn right around and hate on other groups just because you can. Also, can you really ever determine just how hard anyone worked on anything? No, the logic really flew out the window on that one. Most K-pop groups don't support gay people. Just because the idols once hugged a fan who happened to be gay, or because there is a lot of skinship between the members, does not mean that the group supports the LGBTQ+ community, or that the members are part of the community themselves. Unless the idols themselves came out and said yes, I support that community, which some have done, there is no way to tell and you should stop assuming things. Due to Korean society still having that community be quite taboo, the companies will never let the idols speak about it even if they wanted to, and the idols will never speak against it either, because they know that they have fans in that community. You're never going to get a peep out of them either way. You should also quit assuming the sexualities of idols, even if it's in a joking manner. Saying things like those members hug a lot, they must be gay, or that idol has a lot of tattoos, she must be the gay one in the group, only further stereotypes of the LGBTQ+ community, and that helps no one. Research, which I have linked in the description, estimates that the percentage of self-identifying LGBTQ+ individuals out of the whole population is about 5% currently, but interestingly enough, people think that over 20% of people are queer. So based on these statistics, in a 10-member group, there is a 50% chance that one of them is queer, but public perception is that at least 2 of them definitely are. See the problem here? Assuming sexualities helps absolutely no one. Having a bias is overrated. Like, I get the point of having a bias, but at least for me, it feels like an impossible task. How am I supposed to pick among these members who I relate to most if I like all of them and I think that they're all pretty great? Especially when there's so many of them, it becomes even harder, and then it feels like I'm being mean to the other members because I like one of them more than the others. It's a whole mess. So I think that we should normalize having a couple biases in each group, or maybe not having one at all. People talk about having a bias like it's something you just need to have, otherwise you aren't really a fan of that group, and that's ridiculous to me. And then when you do say that someone is your bias because you like their hair or something, you get called out because you're not truly a fan of them and if they were really your bias. you would be able to say what challenge they won on variety show number 300. I think that this issue ties into the whole K-pop fan superiority complex. Oh, I'm better than you because I have this member as my bias and I've been a fan for this long. Like, can you just stop? No matter how new you are or how into the group you are, you can 1. Have or not have the bias you want, and 2. Have the opinions about their releases that you want. I don't understand why what other fans do or think has such a big impact on everyone. Just let people enjoy K-pop the way they want to enjoy it, even if that means doing it in a different way than yourself. For the millionth time, it's not that deep. Alright, that's all I've got for this one. Let me know in the comments whether you think these are popular or unpopular, and if you want a part 2, because you bet that I have more of these laying around. Bye guys, and I'll see you in the next one.